Okay, today we're going to add in some special effects, some sound effects, and clean up the rest of our code to complete our game. I'm going to do the special effects first, so I'm going to go to Game, and I'm going to go to my Pieces layer, and I'm going to unlock that so that I can add new pieces. And I'm going to first add particles. I'm going to click here, and I'm going to open up the red particle image first. Name that particles red. Then we can probably just add the rest the same way. So add particles, open orange, name that particles orange, added new particles. Next one is green. Our fourth particle is blue. Our next particle is going to be purple. Make sure I name the blue particle and the purple particle. Add in our aqua particle. Name that. And last, add in our yellow particle. I'm actually going to select all of them and move them onto the screen and run it so that we can see what they look like first. So right now they're all projecting in a cone. With all of them selected, I'm going to change some of their options. I'm going to change the rate to 500, the spray cone to be 360 degrees, so it's not just one direction, it's all directions. And I'm going to do one shot instead of continuous spray, which means instead of 50 per second, it's going to be 500 total. I lowered my speed to 100, put my size at 2, and I put my X and Y randomizers at 10. Speed randomizer at 10 and size randomizer at 3. And I changed acceleration to -50, and I made the timeout 2 to make them last a little longer. Let's run that to see what it looks like. If that looks okay for you, then you can keep it the way it is. If you'd prefer some other effect, you can modify all of these numbers, and then once you have it the way you want it, you can just move those off the screen. Since they're a one-shot type item, they go away after they run, so you don't have to destroy them at the start of layout. If you get them too close to the edge like this, then you'll see the edges of them at the beginning. So make sure they are far enough away that they don't show up on your screen. One change we can do in create new block is that we can take our set group activated and put it in our animation frame. Check to see if it's less than 5. Copy it and paste it also in our else. And then we can remove this blank event, and that will change our total events from 92 down to 91. And then on our down arrow press, we're going to add a blank sub event, and we're going to move these bottom two into that. Our overlapping board and our overlapping board blocks. That's when we'll want to move down, and then we're going to add an else to this. And we're going to do the same thing that we did when we hit space, which is we're going to create a dead block. We're going to set its animation frame, the angle, and then destroy our block. So we'll copy that and paste it in our else. So basically when we press down and we're still able to move, if the next block is open, we'll move the block down. If the next space isn't open, we'll lock that piece into place. So you can press down when you're about to land and it will lock your piece into place now. And we're also going to modify our swap so that it will check to see if the new piece will be overlapping. So say for example you have the square yellow block and you're switching to the aqua eye block and it's sideways, it could be overlapping the side. So you want to prevent the swap if it's overlapping the side or another block. First I'm going to move my temp right above this so that I can use it right when the event happens. So I'm going to set temp and set the animation frame on the keyboard and can move event. Then I'm going to add a condition to my blank event. I'm going to check to see if the block's frame, so compare frame, if that is not equal to temp. Copy and paste that. We also want to check to see if it's greater than or equal to 6, which would check to see if it's yellow. And here's where we will set x to self.x plus half a block and y to self.y minus half a block. Our other option is this one here, so I'm going to move that right above my first check. So we still have block checking to see if it's not equal to, instead of the swap blocks animation frame, we're going to check temp. And here instead of the swap block, I need to do a system compare variable temp and see if that is greater than or equal to 6. So basically what we're doing is we're going to go ahead and swap them, but we're going to hold the original in temp, see if it's overlapping, and then change it back if it's not. So after these two, I'm going to check if it's overlapping. So I need that to be on the same level. And then our else will be right underneath this one. So we'll move it here, and then we'll put that right above so that the else belongs to this block. So if they're both not overlapping, then our swap block is going to be set to temp. And this is when we're going to activate our drop block. Else, we're going to set our block back to temp. Then under else, we need to do our checks again. So if our block is not equal to the swap blocks animation frame, and it's greater than or equal to 6, we need to add to x and subtract to y to get that back. Then I'm going to copy my block equal to swap block, paste that, then add another condition. This time we're checking swap block, compare frame, greater than or equal to 6, and that is going to be minus x and plus y. Copy those and paste those. That way if we do a swap that involves yellow, we will adjust it back to the correct location. Let's move down to the drop block event. I'm going to deactivate this at the end of the first blank event. And then I'm going to clear this last blank event to remove one total event from our project. Then I'm going to go into the remove row group. Then I want to look for the part where I pick a board block overlapping a point and I destroy those board blocks. When they're destroyed, that's when I'm going to want to create my particles. So I'm going to add a sub event where that board block's frame is equal to 0. Whenever it's 0, that means we have red. So system, create object, red particles, pieces layer, at the coordinates, board blocks.x, board blocks.y. So I'm going to create a particle at the location of the board block we're destroying. Then I'm going to click the leftmost edge of that event so that it copies the whole thing, and I'm going to copy and paste it. I'm going to change this to 1, and I'm going to change red particles to orange. I'm going to copy and paste that again for 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Should take me to 99 events. Change the next one to 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. 2 should be green. Animation frame 3 should be blue. After blue is purple. After purple is aqua. And our last one was yellow. Now if we test that, we should be able to have some particles get created when this is destroyed, and there should be 4 aqua, 3 orange, and 3 blue. And the last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go in and add some sounds. So I'm going to import sounds in the sound folder. You can choose to use any of the sounds you'd like. The ones I'm going to use are Explosion 3, Game Over 1, SFX 1, and Square Motif 1. Open all of those. I'm going to choose the 128 kilobits per second option, import those, and it should have 2 versions of each for compatibility. I'm going to go back to game, double click on the side so that I can add an audio object. You can just leave the name audio. And then in our event sheet, we're going to want to play a sound when certain things happen. So I'm going to go into controls. I'm going to scroll down to pause, and I'm going to add an action, audio. I'm going to choose play, and I'm going to select the sound file I want to play when we pause. I'm going to choose Square Motif. Make sure you set it to not looping so it doesn't play all the time. And then this can be your adjustment if your sound is too loud or too quiet. And there's an optional tag. I'm going to leave mine blank. So now when I pause, it should play that sound. Also going to play a sound when it locks into place when I hit space. So I'm going to expand my space control. I'm going to go ahead and copy that sound. Put that right underneath block destroy. Double click that and choose the sound that I want. I'm going to do SFX1. I'm also going to copy that and put that whenever I lock in using down. So right after the block destroy on the down arrow pressed, I'm also going to play that sound effect. Also going to play a sound when a row is removed. So on row removed, instead of doing it here and having it play 10 different times, I'm just going to go to where clear count is greater than 0. So when we change our score, that's when we're going to play our sound. I'm going to paste the sound at the bottom here. I'm going to change this to Explosion 3. So that's the sound that happens when we clear a row. And the last thing is my game over event sheet. On start of layout, I'm going to play my game over sound effect. So I'm going to go back to start and test each of those. So I'm going to pause the game. That seems to work. Our spacebar appears to work. I'm going to use down to see if that also works. And we're going to see if we can get an explosion. And our game over sound effect works.